wonders about the situation. Iris joins them, and she starts to cheer for William. Rusty mentions it's unexpected to see her cheer for one person in particular, because he thought she would be cheering for the crowd's favorite, so she reveals she wasn't interested in William initially, but she has become obsessed with him. She wonders if Rusty is also a fan, so he mentions that he loves William more than anything, since they're also roommates. Meanwhile, Colette rushes to stop William and Shion, but she finds Julius, who tells her to stop running, or else people will think she isn't suitable for her title as the Earth Princess. She gets angry and warns him to shut his mouth, but Julius attacks with his ice, so she defends herself, but we see he was just triggering a trap, and there's a huge blast. The audience is confused as they watch, and realize that Julius is in several places at once, confronting each of the other squads. Wignall is happy to see him, and Julius reminds him of his declaration to deal with him, but Wignall uses his wind magic, and we see that it was just a clone made from ice. Mike is happy to see Wignall beating Julius, since his money is on the line, but the scout from the elf faction named Phildus mentions that Wignall is average, because he neither exceeds nor fails to meet their expectations. She wants to go home since she's an introvert, but her companion Lafia tells her she can't leave because they need to report the events to Lady Eleanor. Meanwhile, William wonders why Shion is so fixated on fighting him. He remembers the time when he used to get bullied, and he was aware that he was the biggest failure, so he didn't want Shion to take his side, because he thought it was selfish, and he also didn't want to shift away from his goal of meeting Alferia. Shion shoots at him and he runs away, but Shion uses his magic to call his guardian, which is a flaming falcon. The falcon rushes towards William, but he cuts its wing using his sword, and runs at Shion to attack him. But the falcon follows him, and he thinks he needs to cut through the falcon's core to destroy it, or else it won't stop. The falcon regenerates its wing and shoots fire at William, which he dodges, but Shion attacks him from the front. He blocks it using his gauntlet, and even though he is being attacked from all directions, he still manages to save himself. But Edward is impressed by Shion, who he thinks has surpassed the level of a student because he can use high-level fire magic, while also calling his guardian. The scout from the fire faction recognizes Shion's strength, thinking that even though he has less credit points than the top 3, the festival has allowed him to stand out, and he tells his companion to report to Lord Cariot that they have found an unexpected talent. William asks why Shion is after him, so he reveals that even the sight of him irritates him, because his resolve to never give up infuriates him. He felt he was always ignored, and William never even looked at him, even though he was better than him at magic. He doesn't care what William's situation is, and he's determined to just crush him once and for all. William is shocked to learn how Shion feels, and he thinks about the time he told Shion to leave him alone. He thought it would have been selfish to ask Shion to become his friend since he was a loser, but deep down he also wanted the recognition. He realizes Shion acknowledges him, so he decides to take him on. Shion is happy to see him looking at him, and he prepares to use a wide-scale attack magic. He sends his falcon to attack, and William faces it head-on, and he manages to cut through the Guardian's core. He rushes at Shion, who prepares his final attack, but Colette suddenly creates a wall to stop them. William wonders what happened to Julius, so she mentions she beat him and he disappeared. Shion gets embarrassed seeing her clothes, but she blames him since he started the fight. She tells William to go after Julius, saying she can handle Shion. He tells her not to get in his way, but she just starts yelling at him. William gives her his jacket, and thanks her for everything, which makes her blush. He tells Shion they will fight another time, but he heads to the stadium, and Shion tells him to come back. Meanwhile at the stadium, the crowd waits to see who will be the first to arrive, and Julius's group appears. There seems to be no one left to challenge them, but William suddenly comes flying in, and he crashes in right behind them, challenging Julius to a fight. Meanwhile in the tower, we see Alferia by the window, as her attendant Sarissa comes to find her, but she realizes she's sleeping. Alferia wonders what she wants, so Sarissa gives her the reports from their scouts, telling her to consider Julius, because he could become her successor for the Ice faction. At the stadium, Julius is happy to see William, because he wouldn't have been satisfied winning without humiliating him, but William says he doesn't plan on losing. Julius covers the area with a mist, so William relies on sensing their magic. He realizes they're surrounding him, and he gets attacked from behind, but he dodges all their attacks. He charges through the mist and finds Julius, but he gets attacked by a fourth ice spell. He wonders where it came from, and Julius reveals they haven't even moved, as William realizes he was fighting against Julius's clones. Julius blows one of them up, freezing William in place, and Werner is shocked seeing Julius's magic, because the cloning spell is one of the 12 original spells that Alferia created. William wonders how he can use it, but he says he's just built different, saying he's on the level of the Magia, declaring that he will one day take everything from Alferia. William gets mad and breaks free, but he gets attacked from all sides by the clones. Julius uses another spell, and the clones suddenly converge, and they form a barrier that traps William. Julius summons an enormous ice crater, and he uses it to crush William. Edward is impressed he won without even moving from his place, and Julius calls out to the scouts, boasting about having perfected Alferia's magic, and telling them that he will become her successor. But the ice suddenly cracks, and William is able to get free, thanking Julius for cooling his head, since he got worked up after he mentioned Alferia. Julius prepares to humiliate him further, launching another attack, but William dodges it, and he knocks out Julius's two friends. He notes that Julius hasn't perfected Alferia's spell, and the clones suddenly start to shatter, revealing that Julius was using his friends to help control the clones. He tells Julius he's not even close to Alferia's level, and we see Alferia considering him, but she notes that she's not looking for a successor, but rather a sword that can be by her side. Julius creates more clones to surround William, but he's able to read their attacks. Julius knows he isn't good enough to control 4 clones yet, but he thinks they can act as decoys, since they look exactly like him, but William suddenly charges at his real body, so he creates a wall, but he gets pushed back. He wonders how William could tell, so he notes that the clones have a negative body temperature, and when they aren't controlled correctly, the ice seeps out from their feet. Julius wonders how someone with no talent could know more about the spell than him, so William mentions how he grew up with Alferia at the orphanage. He admired and studied her magic, but he was never able to reach her. Alferia thinks that his hard work will pay off, and he tells Julius he knows everything about her magic. William reveals that Alferia created the spell when she was only 2, telling him it's nothing to brag about, so he falls to his knees, realizing he was on the level of an infant. He starts to laugh, refusing to lose, and he summons even more clones, deciding to win with sheer force, but William reveals he used to get bullied by Alferia, who had even more clones. Julius launches his attack, but William dodges it, and he stabs one of the clones. Julius gets scared and runs, ordering the clones to attack, but William blocks everything, and he takes them out one by one. He throws his sword to destroy the last clone, and he delivers the finishing blow on Julius. The crowd can't believe he was able to win, and Colette and Xion finally make it to the stadium. They just need to grab the crown, but we see Wignall taking it, and Mike is excited to see this. The event comes to an end, and Alferia asks Sarissa if there's a magic that can go back in time, revealing that she wasn't bullying William with her clones, but just wanted to play with him all by herself. Xion can't believe William was able to beat Julius, but he swears to be the one to defeat him. William apologizes for not getting the crown, but Colette is just glad to see he's okay, and William is happy he was able to keep his promise. We see William and his friends drinking with the dwarves as they celebrate his victory, and Donan wonders if he has been scouted by the tower. But Colette reveals that he wasn't, saying they didn't even win the event, and she blames Xion for the outcome. Rosti asks William about Xion, so he reveals that he invited him, but he refused to join them. Donan thinks it's okay, because William won the fight, and he even got a proper apology. We see Julius washing the dishes, and Gina tells him they're short-staffed, telling him to work faster, because he still needs to serve the customers. He realizes that his reputation has been ruined, because he lost to William, and he runs to perform his other tasks, as Colette mentions that he got what he deserved. Werner thinks William is going to have a hard time when he returns to the academy, because he just showed everyone what he can do. Colette thinks they're just going to stop underestimating him, but Werner explains that it isn't that simple. The next day, we see students talking about an upcoming event known as the All-Student Praxis, where they need to survive in the dungeon for an entire week. But they're required to form parties, so everyone's searching for capable party members. William walks around the academy, but there are two students that approach him, inviting him to join their party, as they admit that he's ridiculously strong. But the other students surround him, and they all want to explore the dungeon with him, so they start fighting over him, as Colette realizes that they're all interested in him, because they know how powerful he is. But she stops them, telling them they have no shame, as she reminds them that they used to bully him. She thinks he's angry, but he reveals that he's happy, because they want to be his friend. A girl invites him to join her, but Colette stops her, saying he's going to be busy shopping with her. That evening, Colette realizes that she made it sound like she's going on a date with William, and her roommate Rose tells her to wear something cute. We see William studying in his room, when Rusty asks him what he's going to do tomorrow. So he tells Rusty that he's going to go shopping with Colette, who persuaded him to join her, by telling him that they need to buy items to prepare for the all-student praxis. The next day, we see Colette waiting at a plaza, as she wonders if she's really going to have a date with William, who greets her as he arrives, telling her that she looks good. He mentions that she made his heart race, so she becomes flustered, but Rusty suddenly arrives, and he introduces himself as William's roommate, saying he's looking forward to go shopping with her. She's confused hearing this, so William explains he wanted to come along, and he suddenly holds William's hand, telling him it's time to go, so she freaks out, wondering what kind of relationship they have. She observes them, as she notes that Rusty is too close to William, so she realizes that her date has been ruined. They return to the plaza, where William realizes that Colette appears to be upset, and he wonders if something's wrong. So she asks him about Rusty, telling him they appear to have a weird relationship, and she wonders if he's actually a girl. So William confirms that Rusty is a guy, but mentions he's always been a bit weird. He gives them drinks, and he sits beside William, who wonders why he doesn't have one, so he says he will just share with him. Colette offers to give him her drink, but he stares at her, and he tells William to get his sword maintained without them. But he becomes confused, so she explains that dwarves don't like seeing mages at their forge, saying it's better if he goes alone. He walks away, and she asks Rusty if he likes William, so he tells her he loves him more than anyone. She mentions that she used to hug him until 4 years ago, but Rusty reveals that he takes a bath with him every night, telling her to imagine what they get up to. We cut to William, who realizes that Rusty and Colette are acting strange, thinking they don't like each other. Liana suddenly calls him, and he recognizes her as Miss Perfect, knowing she earned all the credits in the 3 subjects. She tells him to follow her, saying she needs to talk to him, and she takes him to a room, where he sees the other top students with Xian. She mentions that it's almost time for the all-student praxis, and she wants to form a party with all of them, but Xian and Julius are against her idea, because they don't like William. He wonders why she brought him there, because everyone knows that they hate him, but he realizes that she's completely clueless. Xian grabs onto him, but Wignall transforms their surroundings, as he mentions that mages aren't barbarians. So Xian releases William, who notes that Wignall used illusion magic to summon a fantasy landscape, and he knows that it can only be used by elves. Wignall suggests listening to Liana, and she tells them she wants to form a party with them, because they're the best mages in the school. She mentions that William stood out the most at the festival, thinking he has something they lack, which can help them in the dungeon. But Julius thinks he will only slow them down, because he can't even use magic, and Xian doesn't want him to join the party. But Wignall reminds them that they lost to him, so they don't have the right to look down on him. Julius tells Wignall that Liana has more credits than him, and he admits that it's true, but he explains that this is the reason why he respects her opinion, saying she's nothing like the two of them. She explains that she wants to use them to ascend the tower as the top student, because she wants to attain fame and honor, so William wonders if she didn't get scouted. She reveals that the Thunder faction reached out to her, so he wonders why she still wants to ascend the tower, because she already has a guaranteed post-graduation placement. So she explains that everyone in her family has a short lifespan, and she wants to achieve overwhelming results, so that she can bring honor to her family before she dies. She reveals that she wants to become a Magia, and she knows that everyone has ambitions, so she tells them to drop their coin in a goblet if her proposal will benefit them. Wignall agrees to join her, thinking their party will be able to achieve the best results, and Julius also decides to join, because he wants to earn more credits. Xian drops his coin into the goblet without saying a word, and William takes his time to think about it, but he ultimately decides to join the party. After that, we see Rusty and Colette searching for William, and they see him approaching, so they ask him why he wasn't in the forge. But he walks past them, telling them he'll be joining Liana's party for the all-student praxis. The next day, Werkner tells everyone that the event will begin in 10 days, and he mentions that floors 7 to 10 will be unlocked, so the students can hunt high-credit monsters. He mentions that the event will be the only opportunity to earn more than 1,000 credits at once,